Alright, everybody, welcome back to Major Gaming, and today we're going to be talking about Aqua Teen Hunger Force in Multiversus. I recently have become a pretty big fan of Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I remember watching it a little bit when I was growing up, but I grew up in the 2000s, so I kind of wasn't able to watch it. But recently I gotten into it, and I was because of Multiverses, honestly. And I was thinking, like, man, these guys would be really fun in this game. Like the moveset potential is like off the charts. So I'm gonna be talking about how I personally would put them into the game. Now, I know some people won't like my idea because me personally, I think they work better as one character. I don't think that they. It's not that I think they wouldn't work as single characters on their own. I just think that they have the most potential when all three of them are together as one character, and I'm gonna explain why more in depth as I go through this move list I made. But it's be open to it. That's what this is gonna be like. I'll thoroughly explain why I think that they should be as one character and not each their separate character. But I'm also not against the idea of having them as separate characters. And honestly, if Player First Games is able to get these characters into the game, I 100% believe that they will be making them all separate characters. I don't think Player First Games will want to have all three of them as one character. I think they'll all be separate characters. But this is my personal move list and how I think it could work. So, I don't think this is actually going to happen, but, I'll accept any version of these characters that ends up in the game. I'm not going crazy about it. Alright, so we're going to get started. So their gameplay, I would classify them as a bruiser character, all as one character. Frylock would be the character that you directly control, and Shake and Meatwad appear as supporting characters throughout the moveset. So there are a lot of moves that involve Shake and Meatwad. It's not just Frylock and Shake and Meatwad appear sometimes. Now, when you select the character, I think it'd be in this version of this character. I would think it'd be best to select. Well, I think it would be best to name them Aqua Teens, not just Frylock, or whatever. Just name them Aqua Teens in the move list or in the character select screen. You pick Aqua Teens, and then all three of them show up, where the character usually is. You get all three of them right there. I don't want Shake and Meatwad to be pushed to the background and have Frylock be like the face of it. I want all three of them to be there together because in the show, in all reality, they feed off of each other so much that I think it would be better to have them be represented as one character because, in all honesty, I know that this show has a lot of crazy stuff that happens, and I know that there's potential for each character to have their own unique move set, but in all reality, the characters themselves don't do a whole lot. They don't, things just kind of happen in the show, if that makes sense. Like they don't really fight a whole lot. Things just kind of happen around them, or they talk about fighting and then never actually do it, I maybe because I haven't seen every single episode. I've seen 95% of Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I haven't seen every episode. There are a couple I've missed, and then I haven't seen the movies yet. I will be watching them, but I haven't. I've watched most of the show though. I've gotten up to I've watched pretty much the whole thing. There are just a couple episodes I might need a refresher on, or like maybe I miss like 5 episodes, But in my experience watching the show, the characters themselves don't do a whole lot of fighting. Like, and it's crazy because the show is like super violent and perverse, but it's not fighting violence. It's more just random shit happening. And like other villain. It's like they're watching violence and they're just kind of like, oh fuck, like that's how I feel watching the show. All right, so yeah, so Shake and Meatwad appear using the antimatter eliminator that Big Brain Meatwad made. So while you're fighting, when you do certain moves that summon these characters, they'll appear with this little lightning thing right here. And I also want it to be like whenever they appear, they say a voice line. I want them all three to have voice lines. And I want whenever they appear, I want them to say something, I feel like that'd be really funny. But yeah, that's how they appear in the moveset. So, going on to actual moves. Neutral Strike, which on PlayStation, which is what I play, is just neutral square. Frylock shoots lasers out of his eyes. He can shoot up to 10 times in a row before a cooldown activates. So it's just like a couple second cooldown. It's sort of similar to Rick's Blaster, only a little bit stronger. Like he'll shoot the lasers like in quick succession, more like this. And then he'll shoot them. He'll be able to shoot up to 10 lasers, and then he'll go on a cooldown for a couple seconds, and then he'll be able to do it again. And it doesn't have to be 10 times in a row. You could shoot it like 5 times, and then a little bit later shoot another 5, and then the cooldown will activate. So it's kind of like an ammo thing where you have a certain amount of ammo with them. Then, so the second part of that move is that it can be charged to create a stronger eye blast, but the cooldown will take effect after one fully charged blast, and it's the same in the air. So you can charge the eye lasers and create a eye blast more like this one that's stronger, but it'll automatically use up all of your eye ammo, and you'll have to hit the cooldown right away after a fully charged blast. So that's Neutral Strike, sort of similar to Rick's Blaster. Side Strike. Frylock does a 2-hit combo with his axe swing. In air, it's only 1 hit, so pretty much as you see right here, Frylock has his axe. He just swings his axe in a 2-hit combo. Down Strike. Shake appears and shoots his green juice at the ground, leaving a puddle on the ground. Any opponents that stand in the puddle are slowed down. So you see right here, this is from the intro of season 11, I believe. But yeah, he just shoots his green goo on the ground. If it hits an opponent, then it knocks him back. But if it hits the ground, it'll leave the puddle on the ground, and then any opponents that walk in it are slowed down. And then in air, Frylock swings his axe downwards at opponents, spiking them, sort of similar to Finn's sword spike. He just swings the axe down. And this is kind of like what I mean by I don't know how unique each character's moveset would be if they were all separated. Because Frylock, he has random inventions. He has his axe and eye lasers. Shake, he has sword, he can shoot goo, and he could use a shotgun. And then what would Meatwad have? Meatwad would be able to transform and shoot his guns. Like, that's kind of like what they do. So, instead of trying to separate them all into 3 different characters where Shake and Meatwad would kind of be similar because they would just use shotguns and pistols, and like maybe Shake would have a sword, but then what would Meatwad really use to fight with, Like, it's kind of like that thing where I'm like, yes, they could do it, but I feel like they work better as one character just because I personally can't think of a full fleshed out moveset for each of them separately. Maybe I just, maybe I'm just lazy. I don't know. But, like, in my mind, I can't think of something that would make each character unique, not only from each other, but from the rest of the characters on the roster, you know? Like, I don't see what would make Shake alone be more unique than, like, Finn or Arya or anything like that if he's just using a sword and he's a giant milkshake. Like, and not only that, but their bodies are not human bodies. So, like, granted, you don't need that, but, like, no character in the game right now is completely like unhumanoid, you know? Like Rain Dog is a quadruped, you know. So that at least he has legs. like he has more physical options, and then the rest of the characters are bipedal, people. Like so, it's it'd be kind of weird trying to create a move set with a giant milkshake or a ball of meat or a floating fry head. Like it's not, that wouldn't be easy to do. That wouldn't be easy to pull off because they don't have limbs. Like, you know. But yeah, so this is kind of why I want them all as one character, because then you can, Frylock has the most, I don't want to say humanoid, but he has more limbs to use, like he can actually kind of move around, normally for the most part. And then Shake and Meatwad can appear next to him, and Frylock's the leader anyway, so, or at least he should, like, he acts like the leader. So it kind of makes sense, and I get why people would want them to be all separate, and I wouldn't be mad at that, but in my mind, this is how I see it. Alright? If that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. Alright. So now we're on the upstrike. Shake appears next to Frylock and swings his Highlander sword upwards as an uppercut. And then in the air, Shake appears with his sword and jumps, spinning around with the sword pointed up. So, for the ground version, Shake appears next to Frylock and just swings his sword upwards like an uppercut. In the air, though, is similar to Arya's side special, only upwards. So Shake will point his sword up and then jump and do like a spin in the air, and that will knock opponents upwards. Sort of similar to Arya's side special, only it's going up. So that's the upstrike, and here's a picture of Shake with his Highlander sword. Neutral special. So Shake appears behind Frylock and drops his chick magnet. After a second, the chick magnet will create an energy wave that weakens all male and non-gendered opponents within the wave and attracts all female opponents towards it. So I really wanted this move to be accurate to the show, and in the show, any male character that was like within the range of the chick magnet was like made more feminine. So I figured in the game that would translate to them being weakened, and then all female opponents would be attracted to it, like at the end of the episode where like every girl on Earth was attracted to the chick magnet. So like, and then it has a cooldown and then will explode after use, so it pretty much attracts female characters to it and then explodes. And then if you're a male character, you're weakened for a couple seconds, or non-gendered opponent, like Iron Giant or something like that. So if it's not a gendered character, or if it's a male character, they get weakened, and then if it's a female opponent, then they get attracted to the magnet. Now, if Player First Games wants to avoid the controversy that could come with a move like that, they could just make it so that all characters are just attracted to the chick magnet. You know, if they're within that wave and then it explodes, I feel like that would be fine. But I wanted to keep it accurate to the show, and the show is controversial. So, Player First Games, you know, if you're seeing this, don't be babies. Just make it accurate to the show. You're fine. You're fine. Just go with it. Alright. So, and then the air version of the move. So, on the ground version, Shake appears behind him and the chick magnet is on the dolly. And he just drops it there. Says a voice line like, "Oh, this'll get me laid tonight," or something like that. Something along the lines of that. And then disappear. You know, I feel like that'd be funny. And then in the air, for neutral special, Frylock will summon his Y-Try that will float behind him and create random items for Frylock and teammates to use, and has a cooldown after 15 seconds. So pretty much he summons the Y-Try, it floats above his head, and for 15 seconds, every 5 seconds, he'll drop an item. So he'll drop a total of like 3 items. And then it'll have a cooldown for a couple seconds after that 15 seconds. It could be like the dynamite, the Meeseeks box, the sandwich, or maybe they could pull out like the AR-15 from Aqua Force, you know, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, where it just drops an AR-15 sometimes, and you could use that. That'd be fun. And then your teammates can also use it. I want to see I want to see Gizmo with an AK-47 just lighting people up. You know, that'd be funny. That'd be funny. But yeah, essentially the idea is that the Y-Try will just create random items and then disappear after a couple seconds, you know. So that's that. Side special. Oh, and that's the Y-Try. That's the picture of the Y-Try. Alright, so after that, we'll have his side special. Shake appears next to Frylock in his muscle form, which is right here. Shake then runs forward and throws a downward punch at opponents and disappears. So he'll appear like this, and then he'll run forward and just punch, you know, downwards. I feel like that'd be fun. Another thing with Shake, now I know in the movie, I haven't seen the movie, but in the movie he's in a suit where he has arms, okay? And I get that they could use that for Shake. I do, I understand that. But for one, that's not his most iconic look. His iconic look is him in Shake form. For two, when you do that, you kind of get rid of the ability to have a reference like this, you know? Like, you can't have Muscle Shake in the Shake suit. You know what I'm saying? And just certain things like that. Now, granted, you don't need Muscle Shake to appear, but it does kind of take away that ability, you know? And that's why I feel like it'd be fun to have them all as one character, because when you summon Shake, he could appear in multiple different forms, you know? It's sort of random, even though you know what's going to happen. Shake is just appearing as Muscle Shake, or just normal Shake, or Shake with a chick magnet. You know, it's kind of like random and funny, you know? That's another thing about having them all as one character that I thought would be a good reason to have them as one character. And then, same with Meatwad. Like, in the air version of the side special, Meatwad appears next to Frylock and shoots his shotgun forward. The ground version, the Muscle Shake would have a cooldown. I forgot to mention that. But air version, Meatwad shoots his shotgun when he's next to Frylock and then disappears. So he just appears, shoots his shotgun maybe once or twice, and then, you know, disappears. And this is a picture of Meatwad with his shotgun shooting the danger cart. So that's that. And then Down special. Down special, Meatwad appears next to Frylock and transforms into an igloo. This knocks opponents back. So on the ground, when Frylock is on the ground and he summons Meatwad, Meatwad appears as the igloo and knocks opponents back or upwards or however they would want to do it. And then in the air, when Frylock does his down special, Meatwad appears and transforms into a giant hot dog and drops to the ground, knocking opponents upwards, similar to Iron Giant's down special. So pretty much these are just like heavy hitting attacks where Meatwad transforms, and when he transforms and hits an opponent, they get knocked back. You know, and then here's his igloo, and here's a giant hot dog. Alright, so up special, Frylock. On the ground, Frylock throws 4 little Meatwads into the air above him that fall to the ground and disappear. If the little Meatwads attach to an opponent, they will cause damage to the opponent over time. The more little Meatwads that are attached, the more damage is done over time. So pretty much his ground up special is he throws the 4 little Meatwads into the air, and if they attach to an opponent, they just do continuous damage for a couple seconds. And then they disappear. Or if he throws them up and they hit the ground, they disappear on the ground. That's, you know. And here's the picture of all the little Meatwads. This is from when Shake split Meatwad into a bunch of little Meatwads. And then in the air version of the up special, Frylock creates a random explosion above his head that knocks opponents upwards. So in the show, things explode constantly, like for no reason. So I thought it'd be fun to have a move that references that, where Frylock just creates a random explosion and it knocks opponents up into the air. I thought that'd be fun. Alright, so, and now we move on to his perks. Cold Hard Science. A fully charged eye laser blast will freeze opponents for a couple seconds but cause less damage. So this is from the episode The Clowning, where Frylock has ice laser beams where he freezes Carl and turns him into a coat rack. You know, maybe I could call the perk Coat Rack instead, but I thought Cold Hard Science was a little bit better name. But yeah, that's his first perk. His second perk is called Split Brain, and this affects the little Meatwads. The little Meatwads that hit the ground will stay on the ground for 5 seconds before disappearing and can latch onto opponents from the ground. So normal version of the up special is, you know, he throws the little Meatwads. If they hit the ground, they disappear. With this perk, once they hit the ground, they stay for a couple seconds, 5 seconds, and will latch onto any opponents that run into them before disappearing. And then his third perk, Explosive Exit. Anytime Meatwad or Shake disappear, they cause an explosion that knocks enemies back. So when you summon Shake or Meatwad, and then they do their move and then disappear, they'll explode. Sort of similar to this explosion here. And I just thought that'd be, again, another reference to random explosions. I thought that'd be funny. So yeah, that is my Aqua Teens move list. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I know that some people won't like the idea of having them all as one character, but I think, you know, it would be a little bit easier to do if they were all one character. I feel like it would, you know, I feel like they can all still be individuals as one character, you know? And I thoroughly believe that, I very much believe that Player First Games, if they can put these characters into the game, I think they're gonna put them all as separate characters. But this is my idea, how I would want it to go, and, yeah, so this is just my idea, you know? Don't go crazy about it. If you guys have your own ideas, let me know in the comments below. Yeah, so, and if you like my idea, share it with Tony on Twitter at Tony1. I'll put it in the description below. But that would be cool if he sees it, you know. I do put a lot of effort into making these moves lists. I made one for Ben 10, and this is my second one, the Aqua Teens, and I do put a lot of thought into it. I try to make it a presentation. I try to really, you know, get people to see what I'm seeing, you know. Yeah, I hope I'm able to get my ideas across in a, in a decent way, that actually makes sense. And I would love for Tony to see this and be like, I really like that idea. Let's implement that into the game the way he did it. That'd be great. I would love that. That'd be so fun. So yeah, hopefully the Aqua Teens get into the game one way or another. I'd love for them to be in the game, considering how iconic they are for Adult Swim. They're like the longest running Adult Swim show, I think, other than maybe Robot Chicken. But Adult Swim is, they have a lot of cool characters I think would be awesome in this game. So yeah, I would love to see Frylock fighting Gizmo and Shaggy and Batman. That'd just be fun. The voice lines that they could come up with for these characters would be amazing. But yeah, so that's that. And I hope everyone has a good day.